Hello everyone and welcome to Live and Let's Dice. I am once again going through the amazing bounty given to us by Games Workshop and their lovely community figures, John, and they have supplied us with a ton of WarCry extra material. I've already shown you the unboxing of the Cypher Lords, I've already shown you the Ironjawz Deepkin and the Flesh Eater Courts expansions for this amazing game, but now we're whittling it down to the green guys and the slightly see-through green guys. Now, I'm going to save the Nighthaunt to last because they're my personal favourite and they always say that you save the best till last. That's why I have a load of younger brothers. Read into that what you will. So today we're going to open up the Ironjawz expansion, which is great. See you later, guys. See you later, you spooky guys. So we're going to be opening up the Ironjawz and seeing if this Orky madness spills from the Age of Sigmar into WarCry. I can never open these. Haha, you have failed to beat me again, Pax. But seriously, GW, you are killing me a little bit with this. I mean, I'm only a man who has two hands and they don't work very well. Sort it out. Anyway, right, so as you can see here, we've got all of our different language cards there, you know, spreading joy throughout the world for all orcs all over the world, but we're only going to be interested in the English one today because, hey, how to read any other languages. That's my fault. That's the British education schooling system failing me right there. But let's see what you can use to make up an Ironjawz warband for WarCry. Remember, you get 1,000 points. Let's see if you wanted to get a brute boss with boss claw and brute smasher, a brute with a jagged gore hacker. What? I love how the language used for these guys. We've got a brute with a gore chopper, a brute boss with a boss chopper, a brute with two brute choppers, an Ardboy boss with Auric forged chopper and smasher, Ardboy with Auric forged big chopper, Ardboy with Auric forged chopper and smasher, and Ardboy with Auric forged chopper and Auric forged shield. I'm sure there are many people who got annoyed with how I pronounced Auric just then. But just know that I'm aware of it and I love you all. That's a lot of words. That's the most descriptive stuff we've had on any of the warbands so far. I'm not complaining, but it seems very counterintuitive that we've had the intelligent Ironjawz Deepkin, and now these are the ones that are using the most linguistic skill. Doesn't seem to add up. But anyway, let's see if these do, because we're looking at the skills right now. So, for a double, you'll get Charge. A fighter can use this ability only if there is a visible enemy fighter within 6 inches of them. This fighter makes a bonus move action and must finish closer to the closest visible enemy fighter than they were at the start of that move action. So there is nothing stopping you right there from popping this off and then using your first activation to close the gap again and then potentially attack on your third activation, which is pretty insane actually, and very in keeping with the orcs. A shield bash is the other double there, and after this fighter's next move action, this activation, pick a visible enemy fighter within 1 inch of this fighter and roll a dice. On a 4 to 5, allocate 1 damage point to that fighter. On a 6, allocate a number of damage points to that fighter equal to the value of this ability. Now, we're starting to see a pattern between the Flesh Eater Courts, the Cypher Lords. They all have this sort of double ability, which seems to be very good at either crowd control or just somebody to do an extra bit of damage. It seems that that's the focal point that GW is trying to get across there. Now we move on to some classic Orky, Duff Up Da Big Thing. Until the end of this fighter's activation, add 2 to the attacks and strength characteristics of attack actions made by this fighter that have a range characteristic of 3 or less, and that target an enemy fighter with a wound characteristic of 15 or more. Now that is fantastic when you consider that, as we described before in the Flesh Eater Courts pack, they've got models there that have 40 wounds. So this is going to be fantastic at just equaling the playing field somewhat. So we come up to our first triple, which is War. Add the value of this ability to the move characteristic of friendly fighters within 6 inches of this fighter when this fighter uses this ability until the end of the battle round. Now that is insane when you consider that if this pops off, bring in a whole Orky boy horde with you to, as we said before, duff up the big thing. That could be very, very impressive indeed. We've got our first triple with an explosive head icon there, which usually means it's going to be like sort of an assault icon, and that is a grab and bash. I don't know why these orc linguistics are doing me in. Pick a visible enemy fighter within 1 inch of this fighter and roll a dice. On a 3+ until the end of the battle round, that fighter cannot make move actions or disengage actions. In addition, on a 6, this fighter can make a bonus attack action against that enemy fighter. This is brilliant. There are no other ways to describe it, but having an ability that basically robs another enemy unit of their chance to make any movement. Imagine doing this against something, I don't know, as we've discovered on the Flesh Eater courts, or the Ironjawz Deepkin with their large monsters. Being able to tie up something that's got the damage potential output of upwards of maybe 6 to 8 damage, that's insane on a 3-up. Big fan, big fan of that. And we go to the quad, which is Rampaging Destroyer. Until the end of this fighter's activation, add 1 to the attack's characteristics of attack actions made by this fighter. In addition, each time an enemy fighter is taken down by an attack action made by this fighter, this fighter can make a bonus move action. Hugely impressed with that. That is so orky, it's unbelievable. Being able to take something, do the damage, then move up and potentially carry on doing more damage in the next turn is great, because that means then that you could take down something, use your first move action to go somewhere else with the bonus move, and then get even closer. Rampaging Destroyer, definitely living up to its name there. But let's see how we get on with the actual ability cards themselves. There we go, we've got our classic wound trackers for multiples of the same one. Very useful and very well thought out. Now, what do we have here then? We've got an Ard Boy boss who's going to set you back 190 points. It's actually quite expensive, more expensive than I thought that they were going to be. But he does get 4 attack dice, but he's got 5 strength. Now we're starting to see the difference maker already. 5 strength in a game where the majority of just general grunts have got 3 or 4 toughness is going to make a huge deal. 25 health as well, and if we check on the ability card, he's able to pop off the War as well, meaning that he can boost all of the friendly fighters around him up to 6, add the value of this ability, so potentially you can move them up to an extra 6 inches. Very good. Now moving on here, we have got an Ard Boy with an Auric Forged Big Chopper. 15 health points, you know, that's a bit less respectable. 110 points right there. Only 4 toughness and 4 attack strength there, and 3 attack dice, and no skills. I mean, that's good as when compared to the other basic boys. I'll put it that way. But maybe not that great. 125 points, what's that going to get us? This is going to get us an Ard Boy with an Auric Forged Chopper and an Auric Forged Shield. And this can use the shield ability where, lest we not forget, this is the shield bash, which means that he can basically do an extra point or a couple of points of damage by knocking them out of the way with a shield on a double. Movement of 3, that is very slow. Toughness of 5, that is very go. Then we've got 3 attack dice here doing 4 damage apiece, 1 to 4 damage. That is big numbers in my book. I like that. Only 1 damage, you might say, not that great when you consider that the Ard Boy was doing 2 damage on his base hit, but I'd rather have more durability than something that can potentially miss harder, if that makes sense. Then we've got the, who is this lovely looking chap with the pig mask on right then? We have got an Ard Boy with a chopper and smasher. 4 attack dice, 4 strength, 4 defense, 110 points. Kind of very similar to the big chopper. Instead of doing 2 damage, he's just doing 1 damage there. But, you know, you live and you learn. He gets an extra attack dice in favor of doing 1 point of damage less. Could be very useful to round up the army. Now we're getting into the really interesting character styles here. This, I believe, is the Brute Boss with the Big Chopper. Now, as you can see here, he's got 2 abilities that he can use for his 255 point cost allowance, and they are the Duff Up the Big Thing, so we're going to be wanting to chuck him straight in against the big boys right there, and also he gets to use the ability of War, which is fantastic at bringing all of his friends with him, because I think you've already seen what I've seen. It's not the 35 health, it's not the 5 defense, it's not even the 3 dice, all the 6 damage that he potentially do, but it's the 6 strength. This is going to be large and in charge. Yes, I'm a huge fan of that. Now moving on for another Orc leader, we have got the Brute Boss with Boss Claw and Brute Smasher. 250 points, that is a quarter of your points allowance on most regular games spent up on 1 model. Let's see if he's worth it. Well, we can already see that he's got the War, we can already see that he's got Duff Up the Big Thing, making it 2 big bonuses in my book. He's got 35 health and 5 defense as well. 4 dice, 5 strength, 2 to 5 damage, but we've got the skull icon again, which, as I said before, is the grab and bash, meaning that he can rob any other fighter of their go, if used correctly and you got a bit of luck, which I'm sure, as all Orc players will tell you, luck is pretty much part of the game plan. Good old Gork and Mork. You gotta love him. Now we move on to a guy who looks like he's holding a Final Fantasy weapon here, which is the Brute with the Gore Chopper. 25 health, 200 points, can do the duff up the big thing. He's got 3 attack dice, 5 strength, 3 to 6 damage a hit. That could do absolutely shed loads of damage if you are lucky and you combine it with the duff up the big thing. 3 movement, we're starting to see here that the Orcs definitely are not the most mobile of armies, but we already kind of knew that, and they're surprisingly expensive as well. Looking at this, you might only be able to take 1 or 2 characters and then have to fill the rest out with regular boys, but they are going to be able to survive a regular good old duffing, a crumping, as I believe it is called. Now we're moving over to the Brute with the Jagged Gore Hacker, who again has duff up the big thing, very, very useful indeed. And we also have, is it the duff up the big thing? I just need to double check. Yeah, it is that. I've just suddenly realized I might have been getting that wrong. He's got 5 defense, 25 health. Again, it's much more durable than the regular grunts, and with 3 movements, still a bit slower, 3 attack dice, 5 strength, 2 to 4 damage a hit. Very, very impressive, 180 points there. And it seems here that we've got the trade-off, as was before with the Ard Boy with the big chopper, and then the one without, because this basically is trading, as you can see, trading, oh, I'll move it down, trading and an extra attack dice for, it appears to be, oh, I thought it was trading an extra attack dice for a defense dice. No, so, oh, it's the extra strength. That took me way longer to realize than it should have done. I apologize. But yeah, there's the trade-off right there. You either want somebody who's got more attack but less strength, or less attacks but more strength. Personally, I always favor numbers over riskier things, but that's because I'm not technically an Orc player, because I'm not that lucky. But yeah, there we go. Those were the Ironjawz data cards. Let me know if you're thinking about picking these up, and if so, have you got any tactics that you're thinking of running in WarCry? And look forward to seeing these guys on the battlefield very, very soon, because, as always mentioned, Lawson, he loves the Orcs, and trust me, they love him too. If you want to follow us and chat more about WarCry or anything else, you can do so on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0. As always, I've been Jules, you have been awesome, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!